Listen to Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Level 2. Part 2.
9. When Oliver woke up, he was lying on the ground. There was blood on his arm and it hurt badly. He stood up and looked around. He saw a house and made his way to the door. Suddenly he remembered the events of the early morning, but he couldn't run or hide. Weak and tired, he knocked on the door, then fell on the steps. 2 servants were having tea when they heard the sound. One of them went to open the door. "It is a little boy," he cried. "He has blood on his arm. He is one of the thieves. I shot him last night." Then a woman's voice came from upstairs. "Is the poor child hurt? Bring him in and call for a doctor." The house belonged to Mrs. Maylie, a nice old-fashioned lady. She lived with her niece, Miss Rose, a very beautiful 17-year-old girl. Soon the doctor arrived. Fortunately, Oliver's injury wasn't serious, but he needed some time to get well. The ladies went to see him. When they entered the room, the boy was asleep. Miss Rose sat next to him and started crying. "He seems like such a nice child," she exclaimed. "I refuse to believe that he did something bad. I think someone took advantage of him and made him a thief. He was too scared to say no." The doctor shook his head. "He is so young. He doesn't know what it means to have a loving mother," Rose continued. "Aunt, you won't let the police take him to prison, will you? He will die there. We need to give him a chance to become a better person." "I won't let anyone take the boy to prison," Mrs. Maylie decided. When Oliver woke up, he told the ladies and the doctor his story. In the evening, a police officer arrived. The doctor and the servants talked to him. "The boy isn't the thief," they told him. Oliver stayed with Mrs. Maylie. He was happy, but he felt bad for Mr. Brownlow. He wanted to explain the situation to the old gentleman. However, it turned out that Mr. Brownlow was no longer in England. He, Mrs. Bedwin, and Mr. Grimwig were now in the West Indies. One day, Oliver fell asleep by the window. He had a scary dream. He dreamed that he was in Fagin's house again. The old thief was sitting in his corner with another man. Suddenly, Fagin looked at Oliver and said, "It is him, I am sure." Oliver woke up, scared to death. He looked out of the window and saw Fagin's face. He stood there with the other man from the boy's dream. In a moment, the 2 men disappeared. Oliver cried for help. A servant arrived at once. He searched the house and the garden, but didn't find anyone. 10. On a rainy evening, Mr. Bumble went to a pub to have a drink. A couple of minutes later, a man in a cape sat next to him. "I have been looking for you," the man said. "You are Mr. Bumble from the workhouse, right? I need some information. Not for free, of course." The man gave Mr. Bumble some money. "What do you want?" Mr. Bumble asked. "There was a boy in your workhouse once. He was the mortician's apprentice. Later he ran away to London," the stranger said. "You mean Oliver Twist?" Mr. Bumble guessed. "Yes. I want to ask you about the woman who was with his mother when she gave birth. Do you know where she is?" "She died last winter," Mr. Bumble replied. "But before she died, she told a secret to a woman I know. I can arrange a meeting for you. Maybe she can tell you what you want to know." The stranger agreed. He wrote his address on a piece of paper. Then he asked Mr. Bumble to visit him with the woman that evening. "Sir, "What should I call you?" Mr. Bumble asked. "Monks," the man replied, and disappeared. In the evening, Mr. Bumble went to Monks's house with Mrs. Corney. It was a dark, scary-looking building in a poor area of London. Monks agreed to pay £25 for the information. It was quite a lot of money. The woman then told him old Sally's story and gave him the locket. Monks grew nervous. With shaking hands, he opened the locket. Inside, he found some hair and a wedding ring. The ring had the name Agnes on it, but there was no surname. There was also a date, about a year before Oliver was born. "Is this what you wanted?" Mrs. Corney asked. "Exactly," Monks replied. "What will you do with it?" "See for yourself," the man said. He opened the window and threw the locket into the river. "Now keep this whole thing a secret. I have nothing more to tell you."
Hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get more audiobooks like this.
11. Nancy was in the kitchen with Fagin when Monks entered. He wanted to have a word with the old thief, but he didn't want anyone to hear them. So the two men went upstairs and locked the door. Nancy was curious. What was it that they couldn't tell her? She took off her shoes, went upstairs, and stood by the door listening to the conversation. Then she came downstairs quietly, took her coat, and ran away onto the street. For a moment, she didn't know where to go. She walked without purpose until she was too tired to go on. Then she sat on a stone and cried. After that, she returned to Bill's apartment. She wasn't feeling well, and tried to hide it all day. But in the evening, Bill finally noticed that she was worried. "What is on your mind?" he asked her. "Nothing," Nancy replied, not looking Bill in the eye. "You are acting strangely. Come sit by my bed," he said. When she was by his side, he held her by the arm so that she couldn't leave. Nancy waited until Bill fell asleep. Then she left the house. She ran down the street pushing past people, and finally arrived at a hotel in a rich area of the city. She entered and asked the woman at the counter, "May I see a lady who is staying here? Her name is Miss Maylie." The hotel worker wasn't happy to see Nancy in her dirty clothes. At first, she didn't want to let her pass, but Nancy kept asking for a minute's talk with Miss Maylie. Finally, the worker led her upstairs. 12. "It wasn't easy to find you," Nancy began when she entered Miss Maylie's room. "I am sorry if someone was rude to you. My name is Rose Maylie. Why did you want to meet me?" Miss Maylie's voice was so soft and nice that Nancy immediately started crying. "I think you have no reason to be so nice to me," she said. "I am the girl who caught Oliver Twist on his way to the bookshop and brought him to Fagin. But I feel bad for the boy, and I came here to ask for help. I heard a conversation between Fagin and a man named Monks. Do you know him?" Miss Maylie shook her head. "Well, he knows you, and he knows you are here. That was how I found you," the girl continued. "The man first came to talk to Fagin a week ago. I listened to their conversation quietly. He wanted to make Oliver a thief for some purpose. However, I didn't hear why because he noticed me on the stairs and I ran away. Yesterday, he came again and said, 'The things that could help identify my brother are now at the bottom of the river. I will have his money anyway. But if someone can kill him without mentioning my name, that will be even better.'" "His brother!" Miss Maylie cried. That was what I heard. But I must go back. I don't know how I can help you, but you probably know someone who can." "But why do you want to return to those awful people?" Rose asked. "I can take you to a safe place right now." "I must go back," Nancy said sadly. "I hate those people, but there is one man among them who is dear to me. I have no friends or family, and he is the only person I have strong feelings for. I cannot cause him any trouble. If I leave, his life may be in danger." "But if I need you again, where can I find you?" "I will be walking on London Bridge every Sunday morning between 11 and 12, Nancy promised. "If I don't come, it means I am dead." "But why don't you want to accept my help?" Rose cried. "At least take some money." "I can't accept that. I am a terrible person. But if I can help poor Oliver, it will make me feel better," Nancy said, and left. Rose decided to write a letter, but when she took her pen, Oliver ran into the room. He looked very excited. "Mr. Brownlow is back in London. I saw him today. Now we can go and explain my situation to him," he said. In 5 minutes they were on their way to Mr. Brownlow. When they arrived, Rose left the boy in her carriage and requested to see the old gentleman. He was in the living room with Mr. Grimwig. Rose told them everything about her meeting with Oliver and Nancy's story. Mr. Brownlow cried, "Poor boy, bring him here immediately." The meeting was a very happy one. Oliver cried, laughed, and hugged Mr. Brownlow and Mrs. Bedwin. In the evening, when Oliver went to bed, Rose and Mr. Brownlow discussed what to do about the whole monks business. "We won't know anything for sure if we don't talk to Monks ourselves," the gentleman said. "But we don't know where to find him, so we will have to speak to Nancy on Sunday. Until then, let's keep it a secret from Oliver and make sure he is safe."
Do you like this story? Send it to your friends to listen to it together.
13. On Sunday, however, Nancy couldn't come to London Bridge. As she was about to leave Fagin's house, Bill saw her at the door and ordered her to stay. He thought she was going to meet a secret lover. Next Sunday, she managed to leave, but Bill sent Charlie Bates after her. He needed to know what was happening. On London Bridge, Nancy met Mr. Brownlow and Rose. She led them to a quiet place and didn't see that Charlie was following her. Then Mr. Brownlow said, "Can you help us find this Monks? We need to speak to him." "I can," Nancy replied. "Only you have to promise me that you won't tell the police anything, and you won't mention any names." Brownlow and Rose agreed. "Then listen," the girl continued. "Monks always goes to the same bar at particular times." She told them the address and described the man's appearance. "He is tall and dark, with a bright red mark on one side of his face," she said. At the sound of these words, Mr. Brownlow cried out, "Impossible! I think I have met him before. But we will see." Once more, Rose offered Nancy some money, but the girl refused. She left her hiding place, returned to Bill's, and fell asleep. However, she didn't sleep for too long. Soon Bill came into her room, took her by the arm rudely, and threw her on the floor. "Get up!" he shouted. "Charlie heard everything you said today." "But I didn't even mention you, or Fagin, or anyone. Did Charlie not tell you?" Nancy cried. In fact, Charlie didn't say anything about that. "You are lying. You will die." Bill hit her on the head twice with his hand, then once with a heavy stick. Nancy lay in a pool of her own blood. she was dead. That same evening, a carriage stopped in front of Mr. Brownlow's house. 2 men climbed out, then helped a third man out. It was Monks. The men brought him into the living room where Mr. Brownlow was waiting for him. "Why did you kidnap me? Who are you?" Monks asked. "I was your father's oldest friend. Seeing you brings back memories of him. That is why I can't be rude to you, Edward Leeford," Brownlow said. "You are here because I want to talk about your brother." "I don't have a brother," Leeford replied. But Mr. Brownlow knew everything. Edward's parents were unhappy in their marriage. When Edward was a child, his mother took him to Paris with her. Mr. Leeford, in return, fell in love with Agnes Fleming, an officer's daughter. Soon, one of his rich relatives died, leaving all his money to Leeford. He went to Rome to collect it. There he met his wife. She knew that he was now a rich man. Mr. Leeford soon fell ill and died. His wife found his will and burned it. Now the money was going to be hers and Edward's. They lived in the West Indies until the day of her death. Meanwhile, Agnes gave birth to Oliver and died too. Before going to Rome, Mr. Leeford gave her portrait to Mr. Brownlow. The gentleman had no idea that Leeford had another child. Then he met Oliver by accident, and was surprised by how similar the boy and Agnes looked. That was when he decided to learn the whole story. "Now I guess it is only part of your secrets," Brownlow said. "Are you ready to tell us the rest? If you are, then go with me." 14. Mr. Grimwig, Oliver, and Rose sat around the table at Mr. Grimwig's house in Oliver's birth town. Monks and Brownlow entered. Monks gave Oliver an angry look. "This man here is your half-brother Edward," Mr. Brownlow began, looking at Oliver. "When your father died, he left a will. In it, he mentioned your mother Agnes and her future child under the following conditions. If a girl is born, she will inherit all the money in any case. If a boy is born, he will inherit the money only if he is a good person. If he isn't, Monks is going to get all the money. That was why his mother destroyed the will." Then Mr. Brownlow turned to Rose. "Do you know this young man, Miss Maylie?" he asked, meaning Monks. "I don't," Rose said, shaking a little. "I know you," Monks said. "I have seen you many times. Agnes's father had 2 daughters. When he died, one of them left town and changed her surname. It was Agnes. The second girl was in my mother's care until a rich widow took her in. The girl's name was Rose." Rose cried out and shook. Luckily, Mr. Grimwig was there to catch her before she fell to the ground. "Come here, my dear sister," Oliver cried. "Let me give you a hug." Although almost everyone was happy that evening, they felt a little sad too. But the most important thing was that Oliver found a family. And as we know, all is well that ends well. But it didn't end well for Fagin and Bill. Bill killed himself by accident while robbing a house. Fagin went to prison. He was going to be hanged for his crimes. The night before his death, he received a visit from Oliver and Mr. Brownlow. "You have some papers that Monks gave you," Brownlow said. "I need to know where they are. There is information about Oliver's past in those documents." "Come here, Oliver, and I will tell you where the papers are," Fagin said. When Oliver came closer to him, he spoke into the boy's ear. "The papers are up the chimney in the front room. Now, Oliver, you can help me get out of here." But Oliver cried out and took a step back. "God forgive this poor man," he said, took Mr. Brownlow by the hand, and they left. And that was the end of the story for the band of criminals. Charlie Bates was the only one who avoided prison. He decided to be an honest man and became a shepherd. Monks got his part of the money and left for America. He lived a life of crime and soon died in prison. Mr. Brownlow adopted Oliver. They lived in the country next to Mr. Grimwig. Finally, there was peace and love in Oliver's life.
For more English books for all levels, check out appeva.com. And now, watch this video. It will help you improve your English right now.